You know, after years in the zone, a man learns to tell the difference between real silence and the kind that watches you back. I've walked these woods more times than I can count. I thought nothing could surprise me anymore. But the forest has a way of keeping secrets, and sometimes it wants you to find them. That evening, the air was heavy. No wind, no birds, just the crunch of my boots on damp soil. Every step echoed in my chest like the ground itself was hollow. I wasn't searching for artifacts, not this time. I was chasing a rumor, an old story about a bunker. They said it was hidden deep, built long before the zone as we know it. Some whispered it was never finished, others that experiments had taken place there. Experiments so strange the earth itself tried to bury them. Hours passed. Trees grew denser, their trunks warped, branches twisted into shapes that looked almost human. I felt eyes on me, always. And then, there it was. Half buried in roots and moss, a hatch, rusted but intact, like the forest tried to choke it but couldn't quite win. I remember just standing there for a moment, my hand hovering over the cold, wet metal. My gut screamed at me to turn back, but my curiosity, my curse, it pulled me forward. I opened it. The sound of rusted steel groaning through the forest like a scream, and from below, a breath of stale, freezing air rushed up, as if the earth exhaled right into my face.
The ladder was narrow, iron cold against my gloves. Each rung groaned beneath my weight. My flashlight cut a trembling cone of light into the dark shaft. The deeper I went, the heavier the air became, damp, metallic, like I was inhaling rust. When my boots hit concrete, the sound rang down a corridor that stretched endlessly into darkness. The walls were lined with rusted doors, numbers barely visible through peeling paint. I started walking. My own footsteps sounded too loud, like they didn't belong to me. I kept pausing, turning, certain I'd hear something behind me. But each time, nothing, just silence. Except, behind some of those doors, I swore I heard faint scratching, nails against metal, slow, careful, like something trapped, waiting. I pressed my ear to one of the doors. Cold bit into my skin through the mask. And then, silence. Perfect silence. Too perfect. That's when I noticed one door looked different. Not rusted. New. Too new. As if someone had been here not long ago. Painted across it, in fresh red, was the number 7. I froze. My pulse hammered in my ears. For a long time, I just stood there staring at that door. My hand shook as I reached for the handle.
The door creaked open, slow, heavy. The room was small, low ceiling, lit by a single bulb that flickered like it couldn't decide if it wanted me to see or not.
and on the walls, photographs, hundreds of them, pinned in perfect rows, men, women, children, each face staring blankly at me through faded black and white paper. Some yellowed with age, others looked fresh, too fresh. I stepped closer, scanning the rows, my breath caught in my throat. There, among them, was me. A younger me from years ago. I don't even remember when that photo could have been taken, but it was me. My face pinned between the dead, my stomach turned to ice. Who had been watching me? For how long? I reached out to touch the photograph, and just then the bulb above hissed and died. Darkness, complete. The kind of black that presses on your eyes, suffocates you. And then I heard it. Whispers, dozens of them, overlapping, hissing, too many voices speaking in some language I couldn't understand. They slithered around me, inside my skull, filling the air like smoke. My flashlight sputtered to life. The beam swung wildly across the room, and in the far corner, something moved. Tall, thin, a shadow that shouldn't exist. It slipped through the doorway, silent, and vanished into the corridor.
Instinct or madness made me chase it. My boots pounded the floor, my flashlight beam trembling, walls blurring past as the whispers grew louder, closer, drilling into my skull. The figure darted into another chamber, and I followed, breath ragged, chest tight. It was a control room, or what remained of one. Rusty panels covered in dust, shattered monitors, Soviet insignia barely visible through grime. And in the center, a chair, leather torn, straps hanging loose, restraints. Someone had been kept here, or something. On a desk nearby, a tape recorder waiting for me. My hands shook as I pressed play. Static crackled, then a distorted voice. We are not alone. They walk among us, inside us. The bunker is not safe. Do not look at the walls. The tape screeched and cut off. I turned slowly, breath shaking, and I saw them. The walls, they were moving. Concrete bulged outward like flesh, faces pressed from inside, mouths opening in silent screams, eyes straining to see. The walls weren't walls. They were full of them. My flashlight slipped from my hands.
Panic took over. I bolted from the room, my lungs tearing, whispers, now shrieks, the corridor warping, bending. The air stank of blood and metal. My boots splashed in puddles I couldn't see. Then, light, the ladder, salvation. I stumbled toward it, every step heavier than the last. My legs wanted to collapse, but I climbed. I climbed with every shred of strength I had. Rungs rattled under my hands, my breath ragged in my mask. I was almost there, almost out. And then a hand closed around my wrist. Cold, pale, not mine. I looked down. Below me, faces swarmed the corridor, stacked on top of each other, eyes hollow, mouths moving in unison. Their whispers rose into a scream that wasn't sound. It was inside me, splitting me open. I ripped free, dragging myself up, bursting through the hatch, slamming it shut. I collapsed onto the forest floor, gasping. The night was still, silent, too silent. I lay there, staring at the stars through the branches, and I wondered, did I really escape? Or am I still down there, another face on the wall, telling this story to myself over and over until I forget who I was? Maybe that's all the zone really is, a place where we never truly leave.